Oh my God. Oops. A ball fit? Look, I just came from the gym. And and the bros. The bros crazy, man. This brother came up to me and was like, "Hey brother, you look like a 1980s action hero." I was like, "Oh shit." Oh shit. Oh yeah. All right, so let's talk about Naoya Inoue versus Fulton. Fantastic fight. I mean, incredible fight, and I'm gonna do my best at breaking this down. I don't know. I don't really know who's gonna win the fight. And I wanna say this too. There's so much to say. I wanna say this too. When it comes to the monster, Naoya Inoue, and his hype, this community, I'm partially responsible for the newfound hype of Naoya Inoue, and this community was featured on TBS in Japan. That's right, my reaction to Paul Butler, to Naoya Inoue becoming undisputed against Paul Butler, that was featured in Japan on the TBS channel. So congratulations to us all. But I didn't find Naoya Inoue on my own. Actually, I got to give love to Regulator. He's been a subscriber to this channel for a long time, and like 4 years ago, Regulator, let me know in the comments. Like 3-4 years ago, you brought him to my attention. When this channel first started, maybe like 3 years ago, you brought him to my attention. That was back when he was, scab booger weight, and I'm looking like, what? Right, so I bought magazines on him. I got to know him. Fantastic fighter. So I understand the hype, and I have something to do with it. Now, when it comes to this fight at 122 against cool boy Fulton, I don't know who's going to win. I think I'm leaning towards Naoya Inoue, all because I'm impressionable. Right? What I mean by that is this. I can't help, when I think of this matchup, I can't help but to think about Manny Pacquiao versus the handsome stone, Ledwaba. I'm not the only one. I know I'm not the only one. Let me get my cranberry juice. I know I'm not the only one. And I'm not talking about everything surrounding it. Pacquiao had 2 losses. Nobody could pronounce his name. Ledwaba was the man. I even think it was short notice, and Manny Pacquiao goes and devastates Ledwaba and shocks everybody. It's different where the monster, Naoya Inoue, he has the hype already. He's undefeated, been undisputed. So that's different. Fulton in his prime, Ledwaba was in his prime. But let's break this fight down. When it comes to experience, I give that to Naoya Inoue. I think he has overall more experience, he does, than cool boy Fulton. But when it comes to experience at 122, you give it to Fulton. That's a huge, you got to look at that difference there. It's a difference. I often say, when people ask me about fighters moving up to take on the champion in that weight class, I'm like, it's difficult for me to say that regardless of how great he is, he's going to move up and beat the champion in his prime. Not when they're older, that's different. But in their prime, reigning champion. It's like when people ask me about Terrence Crawford versus Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo's undisputed at 154. He is arguably the most accomplished super welterweight ever. Right? So, he's undisputed in 4-belt era at 154. To say Terrence Crawford goes up from welterweight one more step up, he's already been, I just think he's going to beat Jermell Charlo. I can't say that. I got to see him at 154 first. That's how it is. Naoya Inoue going up. I've never seen him at 122 before. Have you? Right? But we've seen Fulton's, his fight with Figueroa. He is more experienced at 120. And another thing is this, the power thing, right? Who's the bigger puncher, Naoya Inoue or Fulton? Naoya Inoue. But who's going to be the bigger puncher in this fight? It's different. See, an example of this is I most famously said that Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury is the puncher in that fight. And people were like, I lost subscribers due to that comment I made. But it proved to be true because after the first fight, I saw Fury absorb Deontay Wilder's punch. He got knocked flat out like he was cold, but he rose up like the Undertaker, and he goes to rock Wilder. And that left an impression on me. I told you I'm impressionable. It left an impression on me. I said, Fury's the bigger puncher. And then it showed to be true. Not he's the bigger puncher. He's the bigger puncher in that fight. It's punch to chin ratio. So it shows to be true. Second fight TKO, last fight KO. It proved to be true that Tyson Fury can take Wilder's punches better than Wilder can take Tyson Fury's. So when I think of Naoya Inoue versus Fulton, Fulton can swat. He can punch. All right? He's a bigger guy and can punch. Naoya Inoue doesn't have, he's tough, but he has a chin, but I don't describe him as having the greatest chin in the world. He has a chin. Once again, like Manny Pacquiao. Manny Pacquiao, tough. He had a chin, but he didn't have the best chin in the world. You know, you see him drop. You know, he has a chin, though. So, yeah, but he didn't get dropped off. It's not like, you know, Naoya Inoue has a chin, but at 122 punch to chin ratio, I may lean towards Fulton to be the puncher in that fight, though Naoya Inoue is a bigger puncher. But when it comes to that matchup, Fulton being a slick fighter, good athleticism and rhythm, but on top of that, he got that Philadelphia toughness. He's a tough guy, right? When it comes, a fight's gonna break out in this boxing match eventually. And Fulton, once again, gonna prove his toughness. He's a tough kid. He is, and he's in his prime. He's a big, tough kid from Philly. He's even outgrowing his weight class, so he's bigger. He's a big, tough kid. Inoue, on the other hand, he's a better boxer all the way around, right? Power in both hands, better quickness, speed, maybe, but better quickness. His fighting ability, forward, backward, side to side, his defense, power in both hands, the way he can trade and box, he's better. He's better. And that's what I feel when I think about, you know, that comparison between Manny Pacquiao and Ledwaba versus, you know, that whole comparison, Manny Pacquiao versus Ledwaba and Naoya Inoue in this fight against Fulton. You know, you see that dynamic that Fulton has, in my opinion, that's better. I mean, a dynamic that Inoue has, that's better than Fulton. But the matchup, okay? This is an incredible fight. And then, you know, you got to give love to both of these fighters for Naoya Inoue to vacate all his titles, jump up and dare to be great. He's like, I'm going to show you guys how great I am. There's no question that Naoya Inoue wants to be great. You can question all these other fighters in these bigger weight classes. Naoya Inoue, you know, all you guys in the comments, we have to stop picking a side to the point, for whatever reason you pick your side, to the point where you discredit the other fighter and start hating on them. Don't do that. You can say, I like this fighter over this fighter, but to discredit the other fighter. There's nothing you can say about Naoya Inoue in this move. But in response to that, there's nothing you can say about Fulton going over to Japan to fight Naoya Inoue. He said it 6 months ago in an interview that he was willing to go to Japan, and he did it. They just like that, when Naoya Inoue, you know, announced that he was going up to 122. Don't forget, a couple weeks ago, Fulton was talking about leaving. When he found out that Naoya Inoue was moving up, he's like, I'm staying. And he's agreed to fight him in Japan. That's daring to be great. So both of these guys daring to be great. You know, it's a very difficult fight. If anyone says Fulton beats him, I have nothing to say. If people say Fulton knocks him out, I wouldn't be surprised, shocked at all if Fulton knocked him out. The thing is, I wouldn't be shocked at all if Naoya Inoue knocked out Fulton. I wouldn't be shocked at all if it's a split decision. Either way, I wouldn't be shocked at all if it's a draw. I'm gonna leave you guys with this. This is one of the more exciting matchups of the year. I'm happy that this channel has raised the awareness of Naoya Inoue, his heart, his dedication, kind of feels like we can get Pacquiao all over again. I remember saying years ago, he has a real great probability of being an 8 division world champion, if anyone does. I think most people know Fulton in the States, rather. They know how good he is, that he's a fantastic fighter. This fight is what greats are made of from both. Fulton fighting overseas, going to Naoya Inoue's hometown to show how great he is. That's just incredible. That's some Sugar Ray Robinson, Devin the Dream Haney, Muhammad Ali. That's that type of shit. But Naoya Inoue moving up to take on this guy and fight him at home to be this superstar is incredible. This would be his 4th or 5th time fighting in Japan. I mean, as far as like everybody see it, big time fight in Japan. I'm not going to be a coward here. I'm going to lean one way or the other. And as of right now, until I see something different, like in training or whatever, I'm leaning towards Naoya Inoue, all because I'm reminded of something and I feel like I've seen this before. Let me know how you all feel in the comments below. Showbizz, the dope. I'm out.